Right, I'm just going to say it. Real Madrid fans are not thinking about Sevilla tomorrow, not even a little bit. The comment sections are on fire about something else entirely, and his name rhymes with Mourinho.
Tio, the Mourinho fever has completely taken over. I've been going through the fan reactions and it's like, forget the match, forget the table. People are out here writing fantasy screenplays about Jose coming back to Valdebebas. The emotion is real, Maria.
And look, I get it. When a season goes the way this one has gone, the Clásico, the title gone, the dressing room leaks, fans start reaching for familiar comfort. And for a certain generation of Madridistas, Mourinho is that comfort blanket.
One fan put it perfectly. They said something like, with Mourinho, at least Mbappé would be scared. And honestly, half the fan base in their replies just said, facts. That's where we are right now.
The context, for anyone who missed it, is that AS is reporting Mourinho's return has gone from impossible to a necessity in some circles inside the club. Now, I'd be cautious about how seriously we take that framing. But the fans? They have run with it at full sprint.
Madre mia, they have sprinted. And the debate is fascinating because you've got two very distinct camps. Camp 1, bring Mourinho back. He would never let this dressing room turn into what it's become. Camp 2, Mourinho is the past. Stop living in nostalgia, sign Xabi Alonso, or go young.
One comment I kept seeing referenced Xabi Alonso specifically. Fans saying the club should be chasing him, not recycling old names. But then other fans hit back saying Mourinho would at least command respect in that locker room right now, which apparently Arbeloa cannot.
Which brings us to the other thing fans cannot stop talking about, the Arbeloa dressing room stories. Because vamos, the details coming out are something else. Apparently, when Arbeloa-Carreras questioned one of Arbeloa's decisions, Arbeloa's response was essentially, "Do you have a coaching badge?" The quote doing the rounds is something like, "the coaching title." And then it just trails off with implication.
And fans are completely split on that one. There's a section of the fan base that reads that and goes, finally, a manager with some backbone, someone who won't let players run the show. And then there's the much larger section going, this is exactly the problem. This is why the atmosphere is poisonous.
One headline that's circulating is literally called All of Arbeloa's Fires, and fans are sharing it like a greatest hits compilation. The Mbappé conflict, the Carreras confrontation, apparently multiple other incidents the article lists. Someone in the comments called it a full season of red flags dressed up as man management.
What I find interesting is that the fans who are defending Arbeloa are getting quieter. A few weeks ago, there was still a genuine pro-Arbeloa contingent making noise. Now even they seem to be going, okay, maybe the accumulation is too much. The Carreras story in particular seems to have shifted some people.
Because Carreras has been one of the few bright spots this season. He's been excellent. And fans feel like, if you're clashing with the players who are actually performing, what does that say about your judgment? Que barbaridad.
Okay, let's get into Mbappé because the sentiment this week has taken a slightly different shape. It's not just the usual fraud energy. Fans are now specifically talking about attitude and respect. One comment with a lot of engagement said something like, Mbappé doesn't respect Madrid or his teammates. With this guy, the club is condemned to failure.
That one hit different because it's not about goals anymore. It's about something deeper. The culture of the club, what Real Madrid is supposed to represent. And another fan made the point that really stuck with me. They said his duty isn't just to score goals, his duty is to work for the team, with or without goals. And that's the part people feel is missing.
There was also a fan comment, clearly written in the heat of the moment, where someone said they hadn't even wanted to respond to whatever Mbappé said recently because they were afraid of the language they'd use. They finished with, if I were the manager, he wouldn't play another minute. That's the emotional register we're dealing with.
And then someone else brought up the comparison that always gets the debate going. They pointed to the 2023-24 season, when Madrid won the league and the Champions League, with Vini putting up 24 goals, Bellingham 23, Rodrigo contributing. The argument being that team worked as a unit. That's the Madrid way. And Mbappé, for all his individual talent, hasn't fit that mold.
It's a fair cultural argument, and it's one that goes beyond this season. The fans who are making it aren't wrong about the history. The question is whether you give it more time or whether you've already seen enough.
Now, one more thing that's generating serious heat in the comments, and this one is more about the big picture. Fans are going absolutely nuclear on this idea that there's some kind of coordinated effort against Real Madrid. One fan wrote, and I'm translating this directly, a union that only acts against one team when there are 42. Last week they said nothing about the PK situation. Curious. That's the mood.
The Negreira case reference is also everywhere. Fans pointing out that Madrid essentially stayed quiet about it in 2023, and now suddenly they're loudly invoking corruption and referee bias. And the cynics are saying the timing is very convenient, coming right after Barcelona announced they're leaving the Super League project.
There was one comment that absolutely floored me with how brutal it was. Someone compared a specific media interview setup to, and I'll keep it PG, a propaganda interviewer talking to a dictator. That is how betrayed some fans feel by the Spanish football media landscape right now. That's not a mild frustration, that's genuine fury.
And yet, and this is what's interesting, there's still a section of fans defending Florentino in the context of the Champions League legacy. One comment said something like, his Florentinesa can stay as long as he wants at Real Madrid. Without him, 15 Champions Leagues don't exist. So even in a season of maximum frustration, that shield holds for some people.
The presidential election story is simmering underneath all of this too. Enrique Riquelme apparently getting closer to a formal candidacy, and fans are watching that with one eye while keeping the other eye on every single Arbeloa and Mbappé headline. It's a lot of moving parts.
So, Sevilla. Tomorrow, La Liga. Does anyone care? Genuinely asking, because the fan energy around this fixture is almost non-existent compared to the noise around everything else we've just discussed.
I think fans care in the abstract. They want the season to end with dignity. They don't want any more embarrassments. But after the Clásico and the title loss, the emotional investment in individual Liga results has just evaporated. The Oviedo win felt like a footnote. Sevilla might feel the same.
What fans are watching for tomorrow, I think, is more about the internal signals. Does Mbappé start? Does Arbeloa make any decisions that suggest he's actually in control? Does the squad look like it has any fight left? Those are the real questions people are bringing to this match.
Exactly. The result matters less than what the match tells us about the summer. And that's where the real fan debate lives right now. Who stays, who goes, who comes in, and whether anyone at the club has a genuine plan. Vamos. We'll be all over it tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow's episode drops before the match, so we'll be in full pre-match mode with whatever breaks overnight. And knowing this week, something will break overnight. Stay locked in. Ruido Blanco doesn't sleep. Hala Madrid.